Hey everybody. Hey, it's been a while since I made a video. Been busy with a lot of bikes the last few months and haven't been able to work on any of my own stuff. So I picked up a 67 BSA HORNET just over the weekend here, and this is it. Owned by Rick Otto. He bought this bike new back in '67 here in Colorado, and it's a fairly complete bike. You know, it had some changes over the years, but the bones are good. The price was right, and so it's going to be my next personal project. These are 650s. They were basically a flat tracker and a little bit of a desert racer. There were apparently two versions of this: the East Coast, which this originally was, which had high pipes, and then there was the West Coast version, which was more for desert racing, which had down pipes. Didn't have any mufflers, just headers that went down and exited below the motor. So Rick added this 71 exhaust here at some point. I know he had said that the straight high pipes, which is what this originally came with, were really loud, so he put this on. At some point down in Oklahoma, somebody had stolen his gas tank and the side covers off this. He didn't replace the side covers, but he put a Norton tank on it. Also, the front fender broke just from vibration, and so that was replaced with a fiberglass tank, or a fiberglass fender. These cool Bates headlights here. Originally, like I said, this was an off-road bike. You know, a very heavy off-road bike. They only made them for 2 years, I believe. But the dealer put lights on it for him when he bought it, so that it would be street legal, and he rode this on the road. Changed the gearing a little bit. I think he dropped a tooth in the front. No, he went up a tooth in the front because they're geared pretty low. But neat bikes. I haven't had a Hornet before, so I'm kind of excited about that. It's going to be cool. This is a before video here that I'll tack on the front of the video that I make of the restoration and the finished bike. So I started this about 3 weeks ago. It was what you would truly call a barn find. I think I'll be able to splice some video of the original bike onto the front of this, so you will probably already know that. But stripped everything down. Spent a little over a week just cleaning, inspecting, putting together a list of what I needed to buy for it. Everything has been rebuilt to this point. Coming along nicely. The rims were in good shape. I laced up some Buchanan spokes in there. Used the original paint on the hubs there, which was in real nice shape once it was cleaned. A lot of the CAD plated parts are actually still pretty nice. I was planning on getting all the hardware CAD plated here, but the guy that I use here in the Denver area is more than a month behind, and I didn't want to just sit around and wait for this. I'm trying to get this done in a hurry so that I can put it in one of the British bike shows that is here in the Denver area in September every year. So I'm trying to get this all buttoned up over the next 3 weeks here. So one of those weeks in the coming 3 here. Unfortunately, I'm having some eye surgery and I won't be working on anything. So I basically have 2 more weeks to get this all back together and wrapped up, and I should be able to do it. So same thing with the front. Everything was taken apart, new bearings, spokes, polish the backing plates, that kind of thing. These Hornets were an off-road bike, so they did not have lights originally. But the guy that I got this from, who was the original purchaser of the bike in 1967, had the dealership put lights on it. So they put on this cool little Bates headlight here. And I've also got a light for the rear here that will go on. These ignitions on these Hornets, they don't run a battery. It's just a straight AC ignition off our rotor stator, and but they do have a lighting coil attached in them. So it's a, you know, it's a 6-volt system, and probably not going to have real bright lights on it, but I'm not going to be riding it at night anyway. It's just to keep it somewhat street legal. So coming together, got the motor bottom end put back together this morning and back in the frame. I went ahead and stripped all the way down and painted it with a epoxy automotive paint, a 2-part epoxy. Real tough finish. I like doing that versus powder coating, because you run into grounding issues with powder coat that you just don't with a good quality automotive paint. And also when it gets scratched and when it gets nicked in any way, I can do a very light sand out and touch up with either an airbrush or a touch-up gun and buff it out, and you'll never know it was there, which is something you can't do with powder coat. But the motor is great. The crank in play is exactly where it should be, at just a hair under 3 thousandths. New bearings, new seals, gaskets, obviously. I'm going ahead and put in, I'm using Hepalite and Hastings stuff. I went ahead and had the cylinder board to 40 over. It was standard, but it was a worn standard, so I went up 2 sizes because I wasn't sure that 20 over was going to clean it up. I've also got the Hepalite valves and guides that are going to go in the head here. So that stuff will go in the next couple of hours here, and I'll have essentially a together motor here, minus the stuff that you need to bolt on either side. The transmission was in real nice shape, everything was good. Real happy with the motor. It's a matching numbers bike, and there was literally no damage at all. This bike was never ridden, never raced or ridden off-road like most of the Hornets. Usually they're just kind of thrashed because they were the off-road bike and they were used for that. But this one was bought from a dealer and just ridden on the street, so everything's in nice shape. The chrome covers here, I wasn't able to come up with anything in the short term here to replace the worn chrome covers, but I did have a nice set of chrome springs from another set of Girling shocks that were correct for this, so I went ahead and just did the exposed spring look here with some chrome springs. I actually kind of like that for the off-road kind of thing. So right now this is the point I'm at. Real happy with how it's coming together and how cool this little bike's going to look. I've got a couple of gauges here. They didn't use a pair of gauges on the Hornet. They used a single tachometer, no speedometer. So I have 2 tachs here. I need to, I've ordered the new bezel and glass for this one, and I'll get that put back together. And I'll just have the single tack on it like what it had. It came with a higher rise bars than this, but the UK version had this style of bars, which I like way better than the higher bars. So I put that on there. I also put on a nice little old stock Wassel seat here. So it's a nice one that I was able to find, and I'm happy that I was able to get that. This is kind of sitting on there wrong, but so that's where I'm at today. Polished a bunch of stuff. I'm going to go ahead and paint the fenders and side covers along with the tank. I'm gonna do those in a red pearl metallic, so it should be real pretty. I'm not real big on just the kind of flat red stock color that the Hornets were. I'm gonna go ahead and make it a little prettier, you know, make it like a custom from the 60s, which I looked around on the internet a lot and found one from California in 1968 that was at some races that had a really nice look with fenders and side covers and tank all painted the same in a metallic. It was real pretty. So doing it kind of up as that race bike, and I've got things like new coils. I ordered the new pipes out of the UK. This bike came with low pipes taken off of another model of BSA, just because the owner had liked those better. I personally like the Scrambler high pipes, so those are going back on. That's the way it was when he originally bought it. So that's it. That's kind of midpoint. Be working on this off and on as I have time over the next week, and see if I can button this thing up in 3 weeks for the show. Alright, so I got the ET ignition to spark pretty well, but then I just started thinking about this. I want this to be a rider that I can take out and have fun with and go out and do a couple 100 miles and not have to worry about 50-year-old ignition having a problem. So I ordered a electronic ignition from Electrex in the UK. I've used their stuff before and really like their ignitions. This one comes with the stator rotor. Up here there's a coil. I made this little aluminum plate here that mounts in here, and then I mount everything to it. So you got a little regulator, CDI. I'm using a capacitor instead of a battery. Don't want to deal with a battery on this bike. And it does have a lighting circuit as well, so it'll power the lights. It's also 12 volt DC. The original ET ignition was 6 volt AC, and I think this is going to be a nice upgrade for it. Unfortunately, when they sent me the kit, the rotor here has a tapered shaft, and there's a little sleeve that goes in there that once you tighten down the nut on the outside here, it binds the rotor onto the shaft, and the kit didn't come with that, so they are expressing that to me here. Should be here in the next couple of days, hopefully, because I have about 3 days worth of time to put into this bike to finish it before the annual British Bike Show here in Colorado, which is next Sunday. It's Monday right now, and hopefully on my days off I will have time to and the parts to finish the bike up. So coming along, but Electrex ignition, and I'm hoping that will give me a nice reliable ignition. I also went ahead and wired up a ignition switch up here. The mount for it's in the frame, but the original AT ignition didn't have any sort of switch to it. It had a kill switch on the bar, and that's it. You know, it was a race bike. They weren't worried about you taking it out and having to lock it up. So added the keyed ignition as well, just as an upgrade. So that's it. Keep moving forward here. Hey everybody, I'm here at a British Bike Show in Arvada, Colorado. Just wanted to show you this beautiful 1965 BSA Lightning Clubman. It's an original. Very few of these, only 2 or 3 known in the country. So a spectacular bike in incredible condition. Very nice. So this won first place. I'm very happy to say that the Hornet took second place. Came out very nice.
Oh, thank you very much. Thomas!
So there you go. Hey, Ron!
Man. Second place, that's beautiful.
Thanks, Ron.
That's unbelievable.
So there it is. And then over here to this beautiful bike.
The Scrambler.
Yeah. Look at that nice
We'll add
gold
one
star.
of those to your collection one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get the bigger garage.
So that's a Catalina Scrambler. Beautiful bike, nicely done. So first, second, and third place here at the show. And hey, thanks for watching. Right, so I'm back home from the show. It was a fun day out there talking to all the Brit guys and seeing some guys that I normally only see maybe once a year at the shows. But it was nice. There were some really quality bikes there today. Some beautiful stuff. So I was very happy with, yeah, I wish more bikes had showed up. Normally we get about 50 bikes there, so, and they were quite a few less this year, so that wasn't ideal, but it was good. You've got, I don't know, probably 300-400 British cars, so that was interesting. But here's the bike out in the sun. I literally finished this up the day before the show, and that was my goal, was to have it together and running. And unfortunately I don't have the paperwork done on this yet, so the title's not back and I don't have current plates on it. But I do have just a early 68 plate here that I'm running on right now. It's not a 67, you know, like the correct year of manufacture plate, but it works for now, just for me running around the neighborhood and starting to break the bike in. So right now it has about literally about 15 minutes of run time. I'm still burning off some of the assembly lube and the motor and all that. But it's you know, everything's stone cold. It's been sitting, and it's a easy starter. It sounds like it runs great. I got to thank the guys at Electrics for express mailing me the parts that their kit was missing. So they got those to me literally the day before and just in time so that I could finish it up and get it running. Fired it up the night before the show. So I'm going to go ahead and start it right now, and you can hear it run, and then we're going to take it out for a little ride. So, okay, so far this bike has been super easy to start. Sounds real good. I don't hear any issues at all. I'm real happy with the way it went together. I'm also really happy with the fact that I haven't, you know, I've got a few minutes of run time on it. Not a drop of oil has developed anywhere. I had 0 gas leaks, carburetors or lines or anything. And I do always check my carburetors on the bench with a little remote fuel tank, hook up to them and make sure that everything's tight and we're not developing any leaks or seeps or anything anywhere on the carbs before I put them on. It just makes it easier. I mean, it's not a big deal to pull them back off and tighten up something if you need to, but when you can do it on the bench, it's always easier. And then you put them on, you hook up your lines, and everything's good to go. One thing that's kind of odd on these are monoblocks, but they turn both of the float bowls in. Normally your monoblock, your float, your bowl is on the outside here with the AML script on it, but that puts it right over the hot exhaust. And so on the Hornets, those are turned inward just to keep them away from the heat. So let me put this down. I've already turned on the fuel, and we're gonna go over and kick it over, and you can hear it. I'm gonna tickle the carb a little bit. It's a warm day, but still a little shot in bed. So that is it. We're gonna take this. I'm gonna try to strap this camera to my chest, and we're gonna go out for a little road ride here. See how she's doing.